What's up, Average Dad fans? Welcome back to another video, and today we are talking about this. The Samsung S23 Ultra, 1 year later. Yes, kind of. Soon, next month, it'll be a whole year of the S23 Ultra, and here's my long-term review, from battery life to cameras and just everyday use. Spoiler alert, the S23 Ultra is definitely one of the best phones ever released. Let's go. Now let's talk about the design of the S23 Ultra. Now on the face of it, the S23 Ultra is very similar to the S22 Ultra, and that's not uncommon. iPhone do the same looking phone year on year, and we accept it, so Samsung are no different. But there's two key changes that make a big difference for me. Number one, the flatter display and less rounded screen. I prefer this feel and look when consuming content, when just using the phone day to day. I also prefer the feel of the device in the hand with the squared off edges. Taking a page out of Apple's book, they have certainly squared the edges off. Less of a curved feel like the S22 Ultra. And for me, overall, these two changes make the S23 Ultra enough of a design upgrade that impacts the consumer. Now, continuing with the build quality of the S23 Ultra, this particular device is 6 months old. The S23 Ultra has been out for a year, and my device has zero marks, bumps, scratches on the back, the front, the sides, nothing. The Gorilla Glass Victus 2, sandwiching the armoured aluminium frame that Samsung say is more scratch resistant. Well, something's going right, because I rarely put a case on this device, and it's in my pocket, it's in a bag, and so far, unless you can see any, no bumps, no scratches, no bruises, nothing at all. And the whole thing just feels premium. At around 230 grams, it's certainly not the lightest flagship phone out there, but it's also not the heaviest. Bearing in mind this came out when the 14 Pro Max was its main competitor, and the 14 Pro Max is about 15 to 20 grams heavier. Now, finishing off the build / design, you have to think of overall, after a year living in Scotland, it rains a hell of a lot. You might want to take this on holiday, you might want to take it to the beach. This is IP68 water and dust resistant. Viewers of my channel will know that mostly I review foldable devices which never come with IP68. So having a reliable candy bar style phone that you can take anywhere, you could take it in the pool with you for half an hour if you really want. Knowing that it's not going to die after that dip in the pool, yeah, that's reassuring. And again, Samsung, like a lot of other flagship candy bar style phones, comes with IP68 water and dust resistance. Now, the next thing I want to talk about in my experience with the S23 Ultra is probably the key area for all flagship phones these days, and it's the camera setup. It's a mixed bag here, mostly good, I have to say, actually mostly fantastic. The main 200 megapixel camera is not a gimmick. The 200 megapixel mode that you can see here just produces some unbelievably stunning images that are super sharp. If you choose to crop in and take a screen grab of one, you can do that through the software, or you can do it post in editing. Every corner of this image just looks stunning. And if you want to save file sizes, you can go to 50 megapixel or the 12 megapixel bind mode, and it looks great as well. Sometimes a bit oversaturated, but again, you can fix that in post, and there is a raw photo mode you can take on that 200 megapixel as well. Where it starts to get a bit mixed is with the ultra wide. The ultra wide has 12 megapixels, and while it's not all about megapixels, for me there is quite a noticeable difference between the wide camera shot at 200 megapixels and the 12 megapixel ultra wide. Now, I know that seems obvious because there's such a vast difference in megapixels, but even with colours and sharpness and brightness, everything just looks slightly different. Samsung obviously paid a lot of attention on their main lens, and fair enough, that's the one most people will use. However, me, I'm a bit of a zoom addict, and the fact that the S23 Ultra continues to keep a quad rear camera setup with a 3x optical and a 10x optical is music to my ears. Now, these are 10 megapixels, but still, the photos they produce are fantastic. The 10x optical zoom that Samsung give you is the only, yes, the only phone in the world that gives you this. There are others that go 10 times hybrid. There are others that do 5 times optical. The Samsung S23 Ultra and S22 Ultra are the only ones that will give you a 10 times optical zoom lens, and I for one celebrate it. The photos are sharp, clear, zooming into 50, 60, sometimes even a full 100 times zoom. Pictures look fine, more than passable. The same can't be said for other flagship devices that go 100x hybrid and they look like, it's been taken through a potato. One brand I do want to shout out just now is Vivo. I recently reviewed the Vivo X100 Pro, I'll link that in the description, and its zoom capabilities from its 4.2 times optical camera, yeah, I'm pretty blown away with it, to be honest. And in a one-to-one comparison with some shots, I preferred the Vivo over the 10 times optical of the Samsung. So there is competition coming, but remember, this is the S23 Ultra. It's a year old. In about 2 weeks, you will have the S24 Ultra in your hands. And I fully expect the zoom to be even more improved and the sharpness to be better at 100 times. So, yeah, will not be too harsh on Samsung. Now, when living with a phone day to day, it needs to be good at, well, everything, especially when you're paying £1,250. And the Samsung is. There's really no bad areas. There's nothing I'm going to slam this phone for. Soon I'm going to give you a few points that I really wish Samsung had worked on, but they're not deal breakers. I want to continue talking about the good, and the good has to be the integrated S Pen, the multitasking, all the software benefits of One UI 6 or One UI 5 as it was when I bought the phone. Multitasking is a breeze. I'm not one to normally split the screen on a candy bar phone, but if I do feel inclined, it's very easy to do so. I'm also not one to use the stylus very much, but the fact that the S Pen is there for signing documents whenever I need to comes in bloody handy, let me tell you. Now, along with the multitasking, One UI 6 brings customization. With the Good Lock app, which is free to download from the Galaxy Store, you can customize literally every inch of this device, every centimeter, even the S Pen, the cameras, everything can be tweaked through the Good Lock app. And I'm all for that. If you're spending this amount of money on the phone, you should be able to make it yours and unique to you. And with the wallpaper site I use, HDQ Walls, you can download from the Play Store, not a sponsor, but I use them all the time for my wallpapers. There's an endless amount of wallpapers to help with customization. You can then use Good Lock to customize your icon size, your icon color, your folder stacks, just everything. So Samsung continue to be the leaders, in my opinion, when it comes to software on their candy bar and foldable phones. Now, throughout the year with the Samsung S23 Ultra, there's been a constant bugbear, and it's to do with battery. While the battery itself is absolutely fantastic, it's a 5000 milliamp hour battery paired with the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 Plus, or 8 Gen 2 for Galaxy, an overclocked 8 Gen 2 chip, and the efficiencies in this is absolutely fantastic. This is easily a day and a half, sometimes 2-day phone. Where the bugbear comes in for me, well, it's twofold actually. It's 45 watts wire charging, which for me, do you know what? While 60 watts would be good, I can handle 45 watts. What I can't handle, and I'm going to bring it up, is not having a charging brick included in the box. The backwards thinking of Apple and Samsung, or I should say the backwards marketing, because they know exactly what they're doing. It's very smart. by making us feel that we're the ones in the wrong for wanting a charging brick and that we've got some lying around. Okay, I digress, but typically, if you bought an iPhone 5 years ago or a Samsung 5 years ago, which is, by the way, how long they want you to keep the phone, because that's how long they now give software updates for, the charger was probably 5 or 10 watts. Why the hell would you want to use your 5 or 10 watt plug when your phone can now charge at 45 watts wired? With every iteration, if a company releases a 67 watts device for the first time, that's the device that they should provide a charger with. Surely that makes sense to you all. I know it will, because you're smart. You watch my channel. If a company sticks with 67 watts for 3 years, don't provide the charger until you move up to 80 watts, for example. I'm okay with that. But to just completely remove the charger, even if you've increased the charging speeds, really, really pisses me off, as you can tell. The other bugbear is the wireless charging. Yes, it has it. But at 15 watts, what use is that? 15 watts on a 5,000 milliamp hour battery is going to take hours and hours to charge. Even getting a quick top up, you ain't going to do that with a wireless charger. A quick top up can mean you can get 5 to 10% if you leave it for close to an hour. That ain't good enough. So battery wise, as I've mentioned in another video that I will link in the description, but the upcoming S24, my rumours, leaks and almost confirmed upgrades, battery is part of that. I'm really hoping for a 60 watt charger with a minimum of 35 watts wireless charging. So fingers crossed for that. And the penultimate thing I want to talk about, because you are watching the Average Dad Tech channel, and I ultimately normally review phones from the Chinese market, because more often than not they're the better hardware. With the S23 Ultra, there's no quirks, there's no workarounds. If you want Android Auto or Google Pay or smartwatch connectivity, you can get that. You can pair any smartwatch whatsoever with the device, other than the Apple Watch, but I mean, that seems quite obvious. But yes, Android Auto is wireless. There's also wireless DeX, so Samsung's desktop experience mode is wired or wireless. And if that's your bag, if you don't want to buy a laptop or you're on a budget, the S23 Ultra is not only your all-in-one camera, vlogging, phone setup, it can be your productivity desktop setup with Samsung DeX. Get a wireless mouse and a wireless keyboard, wirelessly connect this to your monitor or with USB-C cable, and you're off and away. It's a laptop. And the 8 Gen 2 for Galaxy chip is more than powerful enough to video edit and use 10 windows at one time, 20 tabs on Chrome. It's, very positive experience. Now, the final thing I want to talk about is the price now, what you can pick this phone up for, and then if you should actually upgrade to the S24 Ultra. Have Samsung, and to be honest, Apple, started to make phones that even as tech geeks don't need to upgrade every year. Because if I'm being honest, this S23 Ultra, specs-wise, processing power-wise, could last even me 3, 4, even 5 years. And for the price, £1,250 new, or less than £900, £800, £750 refurbished, for a half a terabyte S23 Ultra, if you look, you can find them. Yeah, it's a tough one, because you know the S24 Ultra is going to be very similar in specs and design, but you also know it's going to be £1,250. I am holding on to my S23 Ultra in the grand hopes that the UK Samsung store goes something along the lines of the US Samsung store and gives us some proper trade-in deals. I'm so jealous to hear of all these. Samsung will give you $1,000 for your S22 Ultra to get the S23. In the UK, we get nothing like that. If the UK are giving me £1,000 trade-in for this, then that makes the S24 Ultra an absolute no-brainer. But in the UK, we typically get about £580. £580 leaves another, £700 for me to pay? Yeah, I'm not sure if I could recommend you giving your S23 Ultra away and paying £700 to get the S24 Ultra. But that's your choice. All I will say is if you stick with the S23 Ultra or buy the S23 Ultra to save a bit of money, you are getting one of the best smartphones in the world ever. If you want to debate me, put it down in the comments, but there can be no debate, in my opinion. All I'm saying is the latest version of the S Ultra lineup is the best yet, which has to in turn make it one of the best smartphones in the world ever. So, long-term summary, fantastic device, continues to run at lightning speeds, continues to look brand new, feel fantastic in the hand, speakers, all elements of the hardware. Viewing content on this device is just a dream. The 6.8 inch 120Hz AMOLED screen is an absolute joy. And it's 1750 peaks nits of brightness with 1200 nits of ultra bright mode. Yeah, you're seeing this outdoors no matter where. So, that's been my long-term review of the S23 Ultra. I will be buying the S24 Ultra because, well, I'm addicted. But if you've got any questions about this device, or if you're interested in purchasing Average Dad's S23 Ultra, maybe we can come to some form of deal. Message me on Instagram. I'll be back soon with more content on more phones, more tablets, more headphones, and everything tech related. Happy New Year. I hope you had a great one. 2024, I plan, fingers crossed, will be the biggest year for the Average Dad channel yet. And I look forward to meeting all of the members over the year at some point. You can join the member group by clicking the join button below. It's a WhatsApp chat. And today is the first of the month, so I will be doing the Average Dad giveaway where I'll pick at least one winner to win some cash. So, until next time,